The Constitution of India, Preamble. We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic and to secure to all its citizens justice, social, economic and political, liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith and worship, equality of status and of opportunity, and to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation. In our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949, do hereby adopt, enact and give to ourselves this Constitution.
Hi children, how are you? Hope you are healthy and happy. Today we are going to begin with a new chapter. Before moving into the chapter, I want to begin the session by saying a quote. If you are depressed, you are living in the past. If you are anxious, you are living in the future. And if you are at peace, you are living in the present. My dear children, you have to be in the present because it's a gift to us given by the God. That's why it is called present. So be always happy and be always healthy. By saying this, I move on to the session, and the fourth chapter is Anatomy of Flowering Plants. What do you mean by plant anatomy? It is the branch of biology which deals with the study of tissues and internal structure of plants. So what is plant anatomy? It's a branch of biology and it is dealing with the study of internal structure of plants. Now, types of plant tissues. There are different types of plant tissues we can see in plants, and they are classified as meristematic tissues and number 2, permanent tissues. Meristematic tissues, from the name meristem, the name came as meristematic tissue, and what it is young and actively dividing cells. Meristematic tissues are young and actively dividing cells. That means every time these cells will be very active and they used to do cell division in the plant body. Classification of meristem based on position. Meristem can be classified based on its position. Number 1 is apical meristem, number 2 is lateral meristem, and number 3 is intercalary meristem. You can see the figure here. This is the apical meristem, this is the intercalary meristem, and this one is the lateral meristem. So we are going to study what is apical meristem, what is lateral meristem, and what is intercalary meristem. Now here apical, in the case of apical meristem, you can see meristems occur at the tips of roots and shoots. Meristem, when they are seen at the tips of roots and shoots, we can say it has apical meristem. Here in this case of plant, you can see this is the terminal bud and here the meristem is present, isn't it? Now you can see here the terminal bud contains a shoot apical meristem. This bud is containing a shoot apical meristem. Because of this apical meristem, the division will be taking place in this area. Okay, and next one you can see here again in the case of shoot, internal structure, shoot apical meristem. You can see here, this is the part where shoot apical meristem is present, where the division is taking place. Now in the case of root, it is also same thing. You can see this is the part of the root, and here we can see root apical meristem. This is the area where the TS of root has taken, and in this TS of root you can see this is the area which is called root apical meristem. Okay, and here the division of cells used to take place. Now the function of apical meristem is increase the length of root and shoot axis. It helps to increase the length as well as the shoot axis. Number 2 is lateral meristem. Meristem present along the lateral sides of the dicot stems and roots. Along the sides, lateral sides, they are called lateral meristem, and the function is growth in thickness of the plant body. The thickness, that is the width of the plant body, is taking place because of lateral meristem. This lateral meristem is absent in the case of coconut. It is absent in the case of monocot plants. Okay, coconut is an example of monocot plant. But in the case of mango plant, you would have seen the width of the plant stem is taking place there. It is because of the presence of the lateral meristem. The third one is intercalary meristem. Meristems that are seen in between the mature tissues. In between the mature tissues, this is the intercalary meristem. That means in between the tissues, the meristem is seen, and that is called intercalary meristem. Classification of plant tissue. Plant tissues are classified into meristematic and permanent tissues. Meristematic tissues, just now we have seen apical meristem, lateral meristem and intercalary meristem. And the next classification is permanent tissue. Mature cells incapable of cell division, and this permanent tissue is classified into two, simple and complex. Simple is again classified into parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma, and complex is classified into phloem and xylem. So till here we are going to study in today's topic. Now you can see classification of meristems based on origin. Number 1, primary meristem. Meristems which originate from embryonic meristem. Embryonic meristems are there, and from this, if meristems are originating, we can say it as primary meristem. They appear early in life, helps in the formation of primary plant body. Example, apical meristem and intercalary meristem. Already we understood about it. Number 2 is secondary meristem. Meristems which originate from permanent tissues. The meristems which are originating from permanent tissues are called secondary meristem. Example, cork cambium, interfascicular cambium. These cambium, they are the meristems, and these are the example of secondary meristem. Here you can see in the case of plant, you can see here apical meristem as well as cork cambium is there. Apical meristem is the primary meristem and cork cambium is the secondary meristem. You can see here in the case of primary growth in stem, when the first growth is taking place, that time primary phloem and primary xylem are formed. But later on, when the secondary growth is taking place in the stem, that time secondary phloem is formed there, secondary xylem is formed there. Understood, my dear children? So these are the primary and secondary meristem based on the origin of meristem. Now number 2, permanent tissue. A permanent tissue consists of non-dividing cells that are differentiated for various functions. There are two types of permanent tissues. Number 1, simple tissue, complex tissue. Simple tissue we can say as they are made up of one type of cells and they have common function. So in the case of permanent tissue, we can say that they are non-dividing cells and they are of two types, simple tissue and complex tissue. The simple tissues, they are made up of one type of cell and they have common function. You can see here permanent tissue, simple permanent tissue and complex permanent tissue. In the case of simple permanent tissue, we can say as parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. In the case of complex permanent tissue, xylem and phloem is the tissues. Now we can see here the simple permanent tissues. We can see they are classified into three types: parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. In the case of parenchyma, we can say cell wall is thin, It is made up of cellulose, either closely packed or with small intercellular space. So, this is parenchyma. You can see here the cell wall is thin, it is made up of cellulose and it is either closely packed or small intercellular space. You can see intercellular space is present here in the case of a typical parenchyma tissue, and the function is photosynthesis, storage and secretion. Photosynthesis, storage and secretion. Number 2 is collenchyma, living tissue. Cell wall is thickened at the corners due to the deposition of cellulose, hemicellulose and pectin. And the function of collenchyma is it provides mechanical support to the plant. This is related to the collenchyma. It is a transverse section, and here you can see the corners are thickened here, isn't it? This is the peculiarity of collenchyma. Okay, my dear children. Next one is related to sclerenchyma. The cell walls are very thick due to the deposition of lignin, and these cells are usually dead. So, parenchyma and collenchyma both are living cells, but sclerenchyma is a dead cell, and the function it provides mechanical support. Now, based on the shape, sclerenchyma is of two types, fibers and sclerates. Fibers, this is the structure of sclerenchyma. You can see it is very thick due to the deposition of lignin, and it is of two types, fibers and sclerates. And you can see here the fibers, and this is the sclerates, or we can say sclerosis or stone cells, and here it is been said as long narrow cells, cell wall lignified and dead lumen presence. Lumen means these spaces which is present here, it is lumen. In the case of fiber, thick walls, elongated, thick walled, elongated, pointed cells. Fibers are thick walled, elongated and they are pointed cells. Sclerates, they are oval, cylindrical, and they are seen in the fruit walls of nuts, seed coats of guava, pear, papaya, and they helps in mechanical support. Here you can see this is a fiber, lumen is present there as well as a sclerate. Here also lumen is there, isn't it? So, this is the two types of sclerenchyma. Now, so that is related to the simple tissues. Now, we are going to learn about complex tissue. It is composed of more than one type of cells, and they are of two types, xylem and phloem. Xylem, it functions as conducting tissue for water and mineral. It provides mechanical support. It consists of four types of cells, tracheids, vessels, xylem fibers and xylem parenchyma. Number 1 is tracheids. They are elongated dead cells with tapering end. This is tapering end. They are elongated and they are dead cells, and the function of tracheids are to conduction of water, providing mechanical support. That is related to the tracheids present in xylem. Next one is the vessels. They are long cylindrical tube like structures. They are also dead cells, and the presence of vessel is a characteristic features of angiosperm. In the angiosperm, vessels are present, and in the case of gymnosperm, vessels are absent. The gymnosperm lack vessels. The function of vessels, upward conduction of water, provides mechanical support. So, you can see here this is vessel. The difference between tracheid and vessel, you can see tracheid is pointed, isn't it? And in the case of vessels, they are cylindrical. Next one, xylem fiber, which is also called wood fibers. They are sclerenchyma cells associated with xylem. They are thick walled with pointed ends and are elongated, and the walls are lignified with reduced lumen. Lignified means the walls are having lignin and they do not have lumen that much. That is, only little space will be there for the cavity, and the function is it provides mechanical support. Next one is xylem parenchyma, which is also called wood parenchyma. The parenchyma associated with xylem is called xylem parenchyma. Here the cells are living, isn't it? In the case of this one, in the case of vessel as well as tracheids, it has been said they are the dead cells, isn't it? And in the case of parenchyma, they are xylem parenchyma, they are living. The walls are made up of cellulose, and the function it helps in upward conduction of water, stores food in the form of starch or fat. So, this is the structure of different types of xylem. A tracheid it is, this is vessel, this is xylem parenchyma, and this is xylem fiber. Here you can see this is xylem parenchyma, xylem fiber, xylem vessels, and this is tracheids. So, these are the different types of xylem. Now, you can see there are again two types of xylem, one is protoxylem and next one is the metaxylem. Protoxylem means it is the first form xylem and metaxylem means it is the later form xylem. And protoxylem, it develops before the plant organs has completed its growth. In the case of metaxylem, it differentiates when the plant organ has completed its growth, isn't it? Protoxylem is comparatively less prominent, metaxylem is quite prominent. Protoxylem is made up of smaller and narrower elements, metaxylem is formed of broader and larger elements. So, this is protoxylem and this one is metaxylem. You can see here, this is protoxylem and this one is metaxylem. I think you would have understood the difference between protoxylem and metaxylem. This is very, very important, my dear children, you have to study it. Next one is related to the end arc and exarch xylem. There are two types of xylem again, end arc and exarch. End arc xylem is protoxylem when it is towards the pith or the center, and when metaxylem is towards the periphery in the case of stem. In the case of stem, when protoxylem is towards the pith or center and metaxylem is towards the periphery, we can say it as end arc. And exarch means when protoxylem is towards the periphery and metaxylem is towards the center in the case of root. In the case of root, when protoxylem is towards the periphery and metaxylem is towards the center, we can say it as exarch condition. So, there are two types of condition we can see in the case of stem and root. They are end arc condition and exarch condition, and they are the two types of xylem we can see in the case of stem and root based on the presence, or we can say based on the position of protoxylem and metaxylem. Okay, based on the position of protoxylem and metaxylem, we can classify xylem into two types, end arc and exarch xylem. I think you would have understood about end arc and exarch xylem. It is again very, very important, my dear children. See, in the case of dicot stem, protoxylem, isn't it, is inside and metaxylem is outside. In the case of dicot root, metaxylem is inside and protoxylem is outside. So, that is how we can differentiate end arc and exarch xylem in the case of stem and root. Again very, very important, my dear children, you have to study it. The next complex tissue is phloem. It is a tissue conducting prepared food in plants. It is composed of four types of cells: sieve tube elements, companion cells, phloem fiber and phloem parenchyma. In gymnosperms, the phloem is of phloem fiber. It is albuminous cells and sieve cells. In the case of gymnosperm, phloem fibers, albuminous cells and sieve cells are present there. Sieve tubes and companion cells are absent in the case of gymnosperm. Sieve tubes and companion cells are absent in the case of gymnosperm. You can see here number 1, sieve tube elements. Sieve tube cells or sieve tube elements, they are elongated, thin walled, they are living cells and the cells separated by sieve plates. Living cells, these are sieve tube elements and these cells are separated by a plate and that is called sieve plate. Now, cross walls that are perforated with pores are the sieve plates. Sucrose is loaded into the sieve tube by active transport. So, it is helping in the transportation of food material in the form of sucrose, and the sucrose is loaded in the sieve tube for the transportation from one part to the another part in the plant body. That is the function of sieve tube elements. Number 2 is companion cell. In the case of companion cell, again we can see they are living and they are adjacent to the sieve tube members. This is sieve tube element and near to it we can see the companion cell and connected to sieve tube members via plasmodesmata. They are connected to the sieve tube elements with the help of plasmodesmata, which is a channel which is connecting the companion cell and the sieve tube. The function of companion cell is to support sieve tube members, and it is maintaining the pressure gradient in the case of sieve tube. Pressure gradient means the difference in the pressure when it is taking place in the sieve tube, it is being maintained with the help of companion cell. It is also assisting in sugar loading into sieve tube members, assisting in the sugar loading. Sugar loading means sucrose is being loaded in the sieve tube, and that is being assisted by the companion cell. So, that is related to companion cell of phloem. Number 3 is phloem fiber. You can see the fibers of sclerenchyma associated with phloems are called phloem fiber, or it is also called bast fiber. These are narrow, vertically elongated cells with very thick walls and a small lumen. Very small lumen only we can see in the case of phloem fibers, or very small cavity only we can see in the case of phloem fibers. Among the 4 kinds of phloem elements, phloem fibers are the only dead tissues. Phloem fibers are the only dead tissues among the 4 phloems, isn't it, phloem elements. These are strengthening and supporting the cells. These fibers, they are helping in providing mechanical support to the cells. So, here you can see this is companion cells, this is the sieve tube area, this is the sieve plate, this is the sieve element, and this is the fiber, isn't it? This is the fiber. It is a dead cell. The last one is phloem parenchyma. It is represented by a group of living parenchyma cells that are found in between the sieve tubes. In between the sieve tubes, isn't it? This is parenchyma cells and this is sieve tube. So, in between the sieve tube we can see parenchyma cells. They were meant only for storage of organic food. Parenchyma cells which are related to phloem, they are used for storage of organic food. Here you can see this is phloem parenchyma, this is companion cell, this is sieve tube, and this one is the sieve plates. I think you would have understood about phloem parenchyma also, my dear children. It is very, very important. Next one is related to protophloem and metaphloem. Already we have seen that protoxylem and metaxylem. In the same way there is protophloem and metaphloem, which is very, very important. You can see here phloem is classified as primary phloem and secondary phloem. In the case of primary phloem, again it is classified into protophloem and metaphloem. In case of protophloem, the sieve tube members are without companion cells. Sieve tube functions for a brief period and soon they get crushed by the surrounding pressure. They will be disappeared, they will be getting crushed. That is related to protophloem. In the case of metaphloem, the tissue survives for a longer period, and usually the fibers are absent in dicotyledon, whereas in monocotyledon and herbaceous dicots, parenchyma cells are absent. So, metaphloem is a tissue which is surviving for a longer period and it will be having a broader sieve tube in it. In the case of primary phloem, in the case of protophloem, the sieve tube members, they are narrow, they are very narrow. In the case of metaphloem, the sieve tubes are broader. Okay. So, that is the difference between protophloem and metaphloem. That is related to today's topic. I think, my dear children, you would have understood about the meristematic tissue as well as the permanent tissue. Now, what you have to do is that you have to go through it for many times and you have to prepare the notes and you have to be always updating yourself and keep in touch with me. Whenever if you are having any problem or any doubt, you can call me and clarify your doubt. My dear children, by this I think you would have understood today's session, and I am going to wind this session and we will be meeting soon in the next session through this virtual class. Till then, take care.